In this week's Torah reading, called Mishpatim, it follows in the heels of the aftermath of one of the most powerful stories and sidras in the entire Torah itself, that of Yitro, which contains the backbone of civilization, the Ten Commandments. Without this, all of society would be at risk. But last week's Torah portion ends on an odd note. It says, "Build me an altar made of earth," not of anything else, but just simply of earth. And then, in next week's Torah portion, we begin the process of truma, of sacrificing before God. And wedged in between these two, we have Mishpatim, our Sidra, which speaks of all of the laws which bind us together as people, as well as a universe that can live in harmony with one another. Last week's Torah portion, again, an altar made of earth. Next week's Torah portion, all the offerings that the Jewish people would bring to their God, and in the center, human behavior. For it's pointed out by the great sages of the past that if there's anything that God despises, if there's anything that God truly hates above all else, it's when people treat each other cruelly. That we can have respect for God and yet have such utter disregard for our fellow human beings. And such a thing is not countenanced by God. He does not look at it lightly. For in the center of all things that are truly godly are the way that human beings treat one another, which is why Mishpatim, this week's Torah portion, is wedged solidly in between that which we build and erect for God and the things that we bring to God. God doesn't want to hear from us, as it were, until we learn proper human behavior, until we learn how to control our tongue, until we learn how to control that which can destroy or resuscitate another human being. We are made, in essence, to be guardians of one another. God gave us this earth, bequeathed to us this great inheritance, which we in turn will bequeath to our children and our children's children. But unless we take care of it, there'll be nothing to pass on. Hence, Mishpatim, all of the laws that God says, pay very close attention to these things. For if you respect one another, if you carry these laws, not dependent upon your own judgment, not dependent on your own opinion, but rather God says, dependent on my impartial opinion, these are the laws that you live by, so it will be a good universe and a good life. And then build me an altar, bring the sacrifices, and I will smile upon you, and I shall bless you. Shabbat Shalom.